Call the roll.
Moore,
Here.
O'Kane,
Here.
Shaner, Scott,
Here.
Waters.
Stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will go to interviews. First up is Robert DeSmit, Active Transportation Advisory Committee. Go ahead and tell us all the great things you're going to accomplish this time around.
Hi. Bob DeSmit, 6005 Pineview Drive. And is applying for a second three-year term in active transportation, which was a new committee when I joined it. You know, we've been, with our annual report to the council, we're working on a number of issues, taking some time initially to figure out just what all the goals, what we can do or what areas we can be involved with. They had really great staff involvement from the city, including the police department, public works, and engineering. A lot of types of issues we've been working on are things like establishing some social media type outfit, working with Ann. We've also done set up a report, you know, under the reporting website where people can report pedestrian and cycling problem issues. And we go over whatever ones are come in every month and how staff has responded, what's there. One that I had never thought about, frankly, to being on the commission that came up out of the commission was the fact that we have a lot of areas where not only do we not have sidewalks in Sioux City in some areas, but we did not have ability to reach from the sidewalk to the front of the business. And that's since been added. And so in going over the plans for new development to make sure that provisions have been made for a pedestrian to go from the sidewalk that goes in front of a business to the front door of the business, which I think is a nice improvement, especially for those who are handicapped.
Kind of hard to believe that we didn't have that already everywhere, isn't it?
Their major renovation, if they ever get it to work, they can get it in line with the budget on Hamilton. Have you guys on your committee reviewed that plan?
We have not.
That's what I was afraid of. I thought we weren't going to do these type of projects unless this group reviewed it, but I mean, especially in light of the fact that there has been some talk of a bike lane somewhere on Hamilton Boulevard, I think it'd be pretty important to have your committee look at that project. But
yeah. No, I agree. You know, I think one of the areas that I think we've discovered is that sometimes the major projects that are coming up in the schedule, you know, and most of us don't have time to go through the capital improvement plan or anything, but is, okay, this project, this is happening, but by the time it's happening, a lot of decisions have already been made before.
well, that's the unfortunate part. At a minimum, I would think that they would bring what they're bidding to your committee to at least explain the project. It wouldn't take that long to explain the project and why it is not a candidate for more active transportation. I wish, Bob, we could get that message. I don't understand why you wouldn't want that. So
Talking about a bike lane on Hamilton?
that was one of the proposals.
I thought we dismissed that.
No,
We
you
did.
never dismissed that. It kind of sat there and didn't go anywhere, but it was never dismissed. Was it? No, it was
I
never
thought-
dismissed.
Back in
It was
2018,
dismissed by you,
it
but
was.
not necessarily.
I think back in like 2018 or 19.
I thought when we had the public meeting, there was enough negative response to the public meeting that was
This
held.
council never took action.
No, not this
No.
one, but the prior one.
No, I don't think there was ever council action. There was a discussion about doing a restriping plan of Hamilton up in the country club area, and there was a public meeting that had a lot of negative feedback from it, and I think that was just a restriping plan that had nothing to do with
We had the exact same negative opinions in Riverside, and I have to tell you, the traffic flows just fine with that bike lane out there. All of the concerns that people, and that street's almost as wide on Hamilton. So those concerns, although legitimate, shouldn't, in my opinion, be the final say on that, because I think there's plenty of room, at least to put a bike lane on one side of that street, because that's a very wide street. You don't want people like at the Casey store trying to get around another person that's trying to turn in. There's not enough room to do that, and that might, anyway.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. Like I said, that was a restriping plan that that was kind of pushed by Parks, not really through engineering, and I kind of died after that public input meeting. So the Hamilton project that let through the DOT was simply an asphalt overlay, wasn't looking to widen or make any lane configuration.
I didn't say you were, but the Riverside, if you remember, was a DOT project that was not going to have any bike lane on it until we had input.
Well, yeah, but they were looking at a lane reconfiguration of their roadway, and
they didn't want that, but yet we were able to prevail on that. That's all I'm saying. That.
So was that bike lane from 36th out on Hamilton? Was that the one that was being?
Yeah, that was.
Matt?
It's part of where they're redoing the whole street. And
right.
The point is, if you're going to do that, and you're going to have to hire people to paint the roadway in that, you would know that now and paint the roadway accordingly.
Right, and that, you brought up the spot in front of Casey's in one of our team meetings. I brought that spot up as well to Dave about perhaps putting a center turn lane in there, because people are going around squeezing through there anyway, so why not look from 36th on, because it has to go signal to signal.
And that project came in over, so we're going to reject the bids and rebid it again, and probably break it up into.
But that would be just painting, that would be it not making the road any wider.
Did the council take a vote on that?
Matt Salvatore, Parks and Recreation Director. We had a public input meeting on that project a couple years ago.
Right.
It's from Outer Drive to Stone Park Boulevard. It never got to that point. We did have the public input meeting and did receive some negative feedback, so the project's not dead. It's just kind of on hold, waiting for the right opportunity.
Might be it.
Voted on it, thank you.
I think one thing that came out of that, I think, unless it was when we were over in Morningside, was having an overall plan for the whole city for bike lanes.
Now you do.
That is correct. That Hamilton was gonna get kind of relooked at after the entire plan was adopted.
Yeah, and that is on the
on the
master
list.
plan that
Yep,
was
it's
adopted.
on the list.
No, that's
That's
all my
great.
point is, that when you have these projects, that before you bid them, engineering should at least let you look at the projects and say, yeah, that looks good, or that doesn't look good. Here's why we can't have a bike trail there.
Matt, that was just from Outer to 36th?
Outer Drive to Stone Park
Outer
Boulevard.
Park.
Yeah.
Why not all the way out of town?
All the way out, it could be.
Oh,
That's just the segment that would connect the Perry Creek Trail to the Outer Drive Trail, so that's the scope that we looked at.
Any other questions for Bob?
I just wanted to comment, I will continue to push for safer pedestrian crossings at major intersections. I thought that was incredibly powerful. You have to be pretty passionate about a subject to stand that unwavering in your convictions, and I appreciated seeing that. I think that's something that we should all help to advocate for, and I was glad that you included that.
Yeah. Pedestrian crossings has been a topic pretty much every meeting. One of the first big responses, coordinated, I assume, was about pedestrian safety at one of the downtown intersections. A few steps have been taken. I know the police have monitored it some. But, throughout Sioux City, the big problem seems to be the turning right on red. And everybody's looking left for a car, or turning right even on a green light, not looking at the crossway. And, it's an area we've talked about what can be done to improve that. And not an easy solution, not a cheap solution some places, but.
What are a couple of the options is,
Well, one example, and again, just something that people had brought up, is there's no place to cross Sunnybrook Drive from the Highway 20 west side by Sunnybrook Church to Target. There's no place for a pedestrian to safely cross that large stretch of street, and we have apartments now on one side. You know, so what provision could be made? You know, we've talked about whether you could do flashing yellow, or like I was just down in Scottsdale a few weeks ago, they have flashing red lights actually to totally stop traffic to allow people to cross a busy street, and they do it. And I understand concerns, as we've talked with Dave about, as far as, you know, how safe do you feel with the crossing light? If you look at St. Luke's, people don't always stop for that flashing yellow light there when people push it. But it's just one of the areas that maybe future design issues to think about, but also what can be done to retrofit a few spots to make it safer for people to cross.
cool. Looking at other communities is always a good place to get ideas.
Yeah.
Any other? Thank you, Robert. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Todd Hageman, Building and Housing Code Board. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Todd Higman. I've been in the building trades for over 40 years, been a contractor for 27. I have a radon mitigation license too for 22 years, so I've been around a while. Familiar with the process of building codes and stuff like that.
And why do you want to get on this board?
I just feel it'd be interesting to have a little input, see how the process goes, and I could,
You have to get a permit to do radon?
no, you do not. Should,
Should.
There you go. First project.
yeah.
So you can
Nebraska
go,
you
you
do.
can put a radon system in a house, and you don't have to have the bond. So if you do a bad job, the homeowner has no recourse.
Pretty much.
That might be one of your first projects when you
Yeah.
get on that board.
South Sioux, Nebraska, they require,
Nebraska itself does, right?
you know, so a permit for that, so,
And is there certification that you have to obtain?
yeah, I have
To-
to be licensed, I'm a licensed
Right.
mitigator for that, but yeah, then every 2 years, we have to have 8 hours of continuous ed, so.
Okay.
Nebraska, you have to take a test, but do you in Iowa?
I service Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota.
Right, but do you have to take a test in Iowa to do it?
Yeah, yes,
Maybe we can't license them then. If you're licensed with the state,
with the state,
then but you're not bonded, you don't put a bond up with the state.
no.
But you're bonded to do homes, so,
I am as a contractor, so it
As a
goes
s-
under my contractor's
Yeah.
license too, so.
but that's amazing that you'd make plumbers and everybody else, but we wouldn't make radon, which is.
Yeah, I never really understood that one.
Yeah, I don't either.
Thanks for applying, though. Appreciate it.
Thank
Okay.
you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Jim, do both Kosovo and inclusive Sioux City. Why don't you come up?
My name's Jim John. I live in Sioux City quite a while. I've been on different committees. Inclusive Sioux City, I was in a grocery store over the weekend. I always kind of get my mind together what I want to say. But somebody said, teacher, teacher. And it was a young man. He took his cap off, and his name was Gush. I taught him at Mary Tralia. I taught English there for 4 years. They threw me in a room with 30 people. 4 years later, it was great. 7 years did the community garden there. Now I'm volunteering with Lutheran Social Services. The last 10 years of my life has been a real trip, and it continues. I'm helping getting people settled, teaching them to drive, taking them to the grocery store, you name it. And it's a 2-year term. I'm a citizen at large on there, which I would be again. So I think I understand inclusiveness from our diverse population anymore that we've got, and it keeps changing. and I've helped mentor Semhar, the advisor, and I've helped mentor Victor, the new chair. We have meetings every month.
You've done a good job.
Thank you. And you saw my PowerPoint, and you were in on
Yeah.
that when we kind of reorganized things. That's what it's about. We'll meet in January again and have a formal meeting. You've got our yearly plan, but we'll be adding, tweaking that a little bit.
Sounds-
And, I've got a Gillan, our sister city. I was there for the signing. That mayor's gone. I was there. We had a delegation come from Kosovo. Jessica Johnson and I and the committee members showed them around. Then we had the consulate from Des Moines come and we showed them around. The frustrating part is we need to get over there, but the good news is we've got 3 members that have been over there. In November, there was a chance probably something formed up that the mayors would come here, but then the Serbs got into it with the Kosovars and that's a mess. But now they're looking in February again to have our mayors come over here, so we'll get to meet the new mayor.
When
And I've
it-
got to say something.
February
this-
of '23?
Huh?
February of '23?
23. And I have to say about city staff, working with them as advisors, it's really been great over the years, meeting some great people. Jessica and I work pretty
Is it
well.
cooled down over there?
I haven't read it lately. It doesn't hit the news, so I have to remember to look it up. Yeah, last I looked, it wasn't looking good, but I think it's going to calm down. That's
Well,
it.
thank you for everything you do already to date.
I look at this, that you hire me, I've said this before, I think you heard it, and that we're ambassadors once we're hired, we act accordingly, and we help get other members, and we really pitch in, okay? So that's where I'm coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Don Dew, Inclusive Sioux City. Tell us why you want to serve.
So, good afternoon. I have been working with and for people with disabilities for 16 years. The last 10 as Executive Director of Disabilities Resource Center of Siouxland. So I work every day with people with disabilities, not only letting them be in the community, teaching them how to do independent living skills, helping them find housing, how to budget and do transit, and basically everything that needs to be done to be included within Sioux City. So everything that they need is part of my job to be included. So being on the Inclusive Sioux City Board or committee would be kind of that flip side. How can Sioux City be inclusive for not only people with disabilities, but for all people? Because that's what it's about, inclusive of all people. And that's kind of why I want to be on the committee.
Questions?
What do you think your role will be specifically on the committee? What are some projects that you feel would be an important direction to steer the city in?
I do know that there are some areas within disability-related areas that I'd like to point towards the committee doing, but a lot of that depends on what the committee itself wants to do. I don't take a leading role in that. That's what the committee wants. But there are some disability-related things that we just mentioned here just a few minutes ago. So when we're talking about sidewalks that weren't put up to doorsteps, right? That should be something that I think all city departments almost need to kind of check in with Inclusive Sioux City to make sure there aren't areas that people have reported we need sidewalks, or sidewalks that have been pushed with snow that people with wheelchairs can't go through. There's an area of inclusivity and accessibility within all departments. All departments need to be looking at that, in my opinion. But that's not, like again, I say, we don't make our own little fiefdom in there. It's what the committee wants. So.
Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, thanks. We're going to go to the consent agenda, items 3 through 11. Constitute the consent agenda, consider them to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote's asked for by a council member. If you want to speak on the item, please come up as I read it. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. I'll move the agenda, consent agenda.
Second.
3 is the reading of the city council minutes of November 21st, 2022. 4 is a resolution authorizing the Parks and Rec Department to accept an Iowa Department of Natural Resources REAP grant for the Big Sioux River Campground Development Project. 5 is a resolution amending the statement of authorized personnel complement by updating administrative positions in the Parks and Rec and Wastewater Environmental Services Department. 6 is a resolution approving a software as a service agreement with Neighborly Software for the Neighborhood Services Division. 7 are actions relating to finance. A is a resolution approving tax increment finance annual certification of compliance and urban renewal report. B is a resolution certifying the tax increment financing debt. C is a resolution declaring the intent to issue debt to reimburse the city for original expenditures paid for specific projects. D is a resolution approving payment for the city's urban renewal tax increment revenue bonds.
Mayor, could I ask Teresa a question on that, please? Teresa, you set out the 3, 4, 5 project descriptions on that Exhibit A.
Yep.
Are those the payments within, what period of time is that? Or is that within 1 year?
Sorry.
Yeah, on 7D, on your homework on 7D, there's an Exhibit A attached that shows 620 Floyd Boulevard development, 901 Fifth Street redevelopment.
Those are max amounts on those projects.
Excellent.
So, yep, so if they were to go and they would rebate them, that would be the max amount to the project that they would rebate back. So we have to add them to the plan.
Oh, so we're adding those numbers. We're adding the 5 million?
Yep, we have to add that to the plan for the ability for us to utilize it later.
Okay. You
Sorry, I
probably have
didn't
done
pay.
that in years past, but I just don't recall.
We have, yeah.
I don't know why this one hit me. I suppose because Expo Center was on there and Thompson Equipment Company truck and trailer dealership.
Yep, and those are all items that they've already brought to council.
Right.
Yep, you've seen those, and we have to actually amend the plan.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, sorry, I didn't say my name. Teresa Fitch, Finance Director.
Thanks, Teresa.
8 are actions adopting construction documents. A is a resolution adopting construction documents for the Dodge Avenue Reconstruction Project. B is a resolution adopting construction documents for the Rebecca Reconstruction Project. 9 are purchasing. A is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Utility Equipment Company for gate valves. B is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Lincoln Windwater for DI pipe. C is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Dakota Supply Group for push joint pipe. D is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Dakota Supply Group for castings. E is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Utility Equipment Company for castings. F is a resolution awarding a purchase order to American Underground for high-max couplings. G is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Gilling for the 35-foot heavy-duty low-floor diesel bus. H is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Hoagland Bus Company for an ADA-compliant gasoline bus.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
May I ask Mike a question, please? Mike Collette? Hi, Mike. Good, thank you. I want to make sure I read this right. There's a 12-month waiting period for this bus to be delivered?
There is. The lead times, that's the fastest. It's usually running about 24 months right now for these size buses.
Is that right?
It's
Didn't used to.
It's a chassis issue with the manufacturer.
Pretty long.
Were they long periods
Yeah,
of
they're
time?
always pretty, they're always at least.
For the small ones, though, these are extended longer than normal now. Everybody is in the same situation.
The G, the 35-foot heavy-duty
Oakland,
one?
no, the next one. So the big ones have always been around that 18 months roughly.
Oh.
But the small ones, we used to get in 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, they're like, the big ones are like fire trucks.
Yep.
Sometimes a year to 2 years.
And the service life is 5 years, is what you've estimated?
Yep. We use them longer than
Well,
that,
That's
but
that's what I thought.
yeah, we've got some we're running 7, 8 years right now. Yeah,
Used to run about 20 around here, but.
depends.
We're going to have to
We don't
start
really
doing that
keeping it-
again.
You're really keeping it current then. I mean, you're keeping it fairly current. That
We are. We're in better shape than we ever have
Yes.
10 years.
Seems like it. Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
You bet.
Enter applications for beer and liquor license, 11 boards and commission and committee minutes. See the list. Come forward if you have any questions. Anyone to be heard? How are we voting here?
I'm going to call it.
Okay.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Moore.
I want to go first before the staff gets out here. How long is this sewer pipe? I didn't realize it runs all the way down to Floyd River. You cross the bike paths with the hokiest thing I've ever imagined, a plywood thing that's not going to work real good in the wintertime. How long is that going to be?
Which one is this on? What?
They got a pipe that runs all the way from out in Leeds, and it goes way, way south. It crosses bike paths, and they built this little, it's like a bike jump.
John O'Brien, Utility Superintendent. That is HydroClean's bypass pumping right now.
I know what it
They're
is.
Cleaning. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're like, I want to say 2 to 3 months behind schedule already.
So that thing's going to be there all winter for people
Should not be.
to slide and fall on.
They said they could be done by December with that section, so. Last meeting we had with them.
Do we have a penalty for them not being done on time?
They are penalties for them. I do believe we're assessing them now, aren't we, Dave?
I don't know where we're at with the penalty, but they do have limited damage.
It's the most unbelievable thing. Yeah, it's like,
It goes up, down, and around.
it's like a bike jump.
And I've been on them a couple times. They've left
Get over there with my
covers
bike.
undone behind the baseball complex, and I'm not happy with it.
It's the unsafest thing I've seen.
Why don't we just close the bike path there?
I'm just hearing about it.
You need to get Mr. Engel out there because there's no way he's buying that deal.
It's already ahead of you. I saw sparks flying from the keyboard over there.
Since you just sent the,
Oh, okay. All right, Matthew.
Nothing. Nothing this week.
Julie.
Gosh, I saw a lot of parts being ordered for street repairs. I love that. Getting on that. Holiday seasons are upon us. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving with family and friends, whether you traveled or not. The light parade this season was wonderful. We had a good time with my counterparts, riding the new trolley that, is it Black?
Black tie.
Black Tie purchased a trolley, and the city rents it out on occasion, as does Downtown Partners. And it was very nice, very, very comfortable. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Actually had heat, which was.
It did have heat, you're right, and not a lot of fumes.
Right.
Dan.
We don't think. I just want to congratulate Councilmember O'Kane for completing the march,
Oh.
the Lost Children March. He did the whole march from start to finish.
I really,
You what?
I didn't really get carried either.
Didn't get carried. No, congratulations. And then we were at the luncheon. So it was a nice, very nice event. That's all I have.
I got about 5 minutes of speeches at the courthouse, which was nice. Got to see the pretty horses and, yeah, very nice crowd. So I'll move we adjourn.
Second?
O'Kane.
aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye. Thanks, everybody.